11 p.m. These are the headlines. President Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, presided over today a cabinet meeting. The agenda included a draft law on insurance, discussions on the Algeria-European Union partnership, and updates on the progress of grain storage silo projects. For the first time in Algeria, a regional workshop for the International Civil Service Commission of the United Nations was held today with the participation of the 80 international officials. A reminder of France's colonial crimes and testimonies documenting the horrific nature of the wrongdoing, from France's reckless exploitation of uranium mines in Niger to its colonial dominance in Africa. In occupied Palestine, Zionist forces violated the ceasefire agreement by preventing Gaza residents from reaching the north, and the Algerian TV captured the scenes of suffering from Salah ad-Din Street. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's news. First of all, the President, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, presided over today a cabinet meeting. The agenda included a draft law on insurance, discussions on the Algeria-European Union partnership, and updates on the progress of grain storage silo projects. Following the Prime Minister's presentation on the government's activities over the past 2 weeks, and after hearing the interventions of the ministers on the laws and reports presented, the President issued the following directives. On university grants, the President instructed the formation of a committee comprising the Minister of Higher Education, the Minister of Youth overseeing the Supreme Youth Council, and the Minister of Finance to present a report at the next cabinet meeting on increasing university student grants. He also directed that the comprehensive reform plan for university services include a revision of the grant and accommodation systems for students. On the draft law governing trade union rights, the President emphasized that the law must respect union rights and include provisions for training in the field. The law must also ensure transparency in union practices and genuine representation. On preparations for the Hajj season, the President ordered that the state bear the additional cost of the Hajj, maintaining last season's cost for programs. On the Algeria-European Union partnership, the President highlighted that revising the agreement is necessitated by economic realities. Since its implementation in 2005, Algeria exports were primarily hydrocarbons. Now they include diversified products such as agricultural goods, minerals, cement and foodstuffs. He stressed that this revision is not due to disputes, but rather to strengthen relations with the European Union as an economic partner based on mutual benefit. The President reiterated that Algeria has not banned imports except for goods produced locally in quantities meeting the local demand. He issued strict instructions to counter attempts to tarnish Algeria's image among global brands by facilitating and encouraging investments, in particular by young entrepreneurs marketing international brands in major commercial spaces. The goal, he stated, is to rationalize and organize imports by sector while addressing recurrent speculation on imported products such as spare parts, which remain open for import. On the draft law on insurance, the President directed further enrichment of the draft law to align with the country's financial sovereignty. He encouraged operators in the sector to invest and establish private Algerian banks to stimulate the national economy. And on the progress of grain storage silo projects, the President commended the progress, noting that storage capacity will reach 5 million tons for the first time in preparation for the harvest season. He instructed the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development to accelerate the completion of remaining silos to enhance storage capacity as part of the food security strategy. He also directed the expansion of silo construction to municipalities known for consistent and abundant grain production. Before concluding, the Cabinet approved individual decisions regarding appointments and dismissals in senior state positions. The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Committee Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, received this Sunday Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Germany, Katja Kjol. The meeting allowed the two parties to review the state and perspectives of partnership between Algeria and Germany, notably within the economic and cultural fields, and to exchange views regarding the challenges encountered by the Sahel-Saharan region. And for the first time in Algeria, a regional workshop for the International Civil Service Commission of the United Nations was held today with the participation of 80 international officials who discussed the role of this commission at the level of the United Nations system. Najh.
Staff and experts from the UN International Civil Service Commission are convening in Algeria to take part in a regional workshop focused on modernized systems, making a significant milestone in the region.
Algeria is proud to host these events and to contribute to fostering dialogue on such vital issues. I trust that your collective expertise and dedication will result in meaningful progress. On behalf of the Algerian government, I'm pleased to declare the ICSC workshop of the UN on the United Nations compensation system officially open.
The world is facing financial challenges, administrative challenges, artificial challenges. All these new elements must be dealt with and adapted to.
The UN's International Civil Service Workshop in Algeria provided a platform for the UN staff to address the key challenges impacting their missions.
We are excited that it was held in an Arab country for the first time, and this allowed us to participate.
I'm here to learn about the workshop presents us with all the methodologies that makes up our compensation package.
I'm so glad to be here in Algeria. Algeria is such a beautiful country, and just for a day, I've seen that you are friendly people.
Worth to be mentioned that now the United Nations organization employs over 130,000 staff members worldwide.
And in a move that embodies the depth of relations, a bilateral partnership between Algeria and Mauritania in the energy sector, the CEO of Sonatrach, Rachid Hashishi, received today a Mauritanian delegation of an oil company led by its general manager, Ismail Abdel Fattah, who is on a working visit to Algeria. This visit comes within the framework of enhancing cooperation between Sonatrach and the Mauritanian hydrocarbon company by exploring opportunities for partnership. During the talks, the two parties identified investment opportunities and projects of mutual interest within the hydrocarbon sector. The Arab Inter-Parliamentary Union has strongly condemned the European Parliament's resolution on Algeria, calling it a blatant interference in the country's internal affairs and a violation of its sovereignty and judicial independence. In a statement signed by its President, Brahim Boughali, Speaker of the People's National Assembly, the Union criticized the move as a breach of international norms that uphold state sovereignty and non-interference. It urged the European Parliament to stop using human rights issues as a pretext to meddle in other nations' affairs and to respect Algeria's judiciary. Moving on to Niger. Niger, as said, is one of France's largest suppliers of uranium. 70% of this country's electricity is supplied by this resource exploited savagely by certain French mining companies. Today, truth has been unveiled, particularly about overexploitation of mines without safety standards, with workers who end up seriously sick while the radioactivity affected the drinking water. Rania Al-Bahri.
As seen in this footage, an endless sea of tombstones, this mass graveyard reflects a disturbing paradox. In Niger, the extraction of uranium, a vital resource for France, has left behind a tragic legacy of destruction. The land is ravaged and lives are shattered. Niger's uranium provides 70% of France's electricity, fueling over 50 nuclear power plants in the country, yet this comes at the cost of silent suffering. These mining areas hold within the remains of thousands of victims, including miners and local residents who died from diseases caused by unsafe mining practices.
The Nigerian uranium is being exploited without protection and without informing the population. There's only lasting pollution. I worked in the uranium mine, and because of this work I fell ill because we worked without protection.
Overexploiting mines without any safety standards to the detriment of health of Nigerians was the objective.
We are here to show that there is water pollution with uranium, the water that was nevertheless distributed by mining companies to the population. This water far exceeded the health standards for the World Health Organization. Of course it affects people. The radioactivity of this waste is very long-lived. The radioactive elements have a lifespan of billion years.
Although Niger is rich in natural resources, it remains one of the poorest countries in the world, as France depends on its resources, a strategy that resulted in misery that keeps ravaging till this day the Nigerian territories inherited.
Colonialism Always, a documentary exposing France's violent colonial atrocities and efforts to erase them from history, has been brought to light, highlighting the brutality of its colonial dominance in Africa. Najah Tayyar.
Ici, une enfant de 7 mois a été tuée, une balle française lui a fait sauter le crâne. Ici, du sang sur le mur, une femme enceinte est venue mourir, 2 balles françaises dans le ventre.
Censored before its release, this documentary cost the Ivorian filmmaker a year of imprisonment and a hefty fine, as if he committed a crime by exposing the massacres perpetrated by the colonial France in Côte d'Ivoire. This film reveals in a grim detail atrocities that wiped out entire villages, sparing neither women nor children. These barbaric acts, carried out under the guise of civilization, contradict the ideals of peace, justice and tolerance proclaimed by the colonial France. In 1917, over 400 Muslim scholars in Chad were executed in cold blood for refusing to submit to the French colonial laws. Their bodies were buried in a mass grave. Banned for over 40 years, the documentary has recently surfaced, sparking a buzz on the web and shedding light on this dark chapter of the colonial history.
In 1917, the French committed the terrible Qabqab massacre, an act of extreme brutality. They deceived and lured the Muslim scholars and chiefs of Bishir town to a meeting with the French governor. Once there, the scholars were executed, their heads chopped off in retaliation for the death of French soldiers in the town. The first action taken by France was to erase the Muslim identity by eliminating their laws. It destroyed mosques, burned copies of the Holy Quran, and deployed every means to abolish the Arabic language and impose the French language.
The colonial powers have always relied on violence as the foundation of their dominance, a truth highlighted by these massacres, and France's attempts to erase them from the collective memory only emphasizes the brutality at the heart of its colonial history.
In other news, and as part of efforts to achieve water security, the Fuka 2 seawater desalination plant in Tipaza province has entered the initial flow phase, marking the first step towards full technical testing and operation. The plant, managed by the Algerian energy company from the Sonatrach group, has a production capacity of 300,000 cubic meters per day. This will enhance the supply of drinking water to residents of Tipaza, Algiers and Blida provinces. The Algerian stand at the Cairo Book Fair surely draws significant interest from foreign visitors. The vibrant display of Algerian literature captivated the international readers. In an interview with our field reporter Hisham Yarfa, representative of the Romanian Cultural Ministry, expressed his admiration for the Algerian stand, highlighting its success in promoting cultural exchange and international collaboration.
This is our first time here in Cairo at the book fair. It's a great surprise to be here, and For us, it's a great pleasure and honor to be hosted also in the Algerian stand and to meet new friends from Algeria. As I said even before to you, we want to increase our ties to Algeria, to Algerian literature, to Algerian readers, and to Algerian publishers as well. We have a very interesting literature that we can offer to you, and you have a very interesting literature that we know about in Romania, because our connections are historical, and it's not only culture, it's all economical and on many, many layers. So we really want now to have these projects, ongoing projects, to increase connections to Algeria. We intend to rebuild and reshape in a better way, let's say, the bridge over the Mediterranean Sea between Algeria and Romania, because we are two important countries and we have a lot of culture to share. And also Romania is a culture for various culture, also with minorities, also Republic of Moldova. And we have a lot to offer, and also Algeria, of course. It's a huge country and with a huge history that can offer a lot of information to the Romanian audience, to the Romanian readers. Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Alexander Popescu, thank you very much.
Thank you. Shukran. Shukran. Thank you.
Okay, that's all. It was Hisham from in the National Cairo Book Fair.
To the occupied Palestinian territories, the suffering of displaced families in Gaza persisted today as they attempted to return to northern areas, aligned with the second phase of the ceasefire agreement. However, Zionist forces blocked their efforts and recaptured these scenes of gathering on Salah ad-Din and the Rashid streets. Wissam Abu Zaid and Rani al-Bahri.
Salah ad-Din district is the link connecting all Palestinian areas from north to south. Many families have been sleeping on the streets since yesterday, waiting for the Zionist army to withdraw. They hope to return to their homes in Gaza City and the north.
Thank God we are on Salah ad-Din street. With God's willing, we will reach Jabaliyah, the land of steadfastness, safely.
As you walk down in Salah ad-Din street, you see Palestinian families, women, elders and children waiting to return home. They carry their belongings, mattresses and everything they need for survival after 15 months of war.
I don't want to go back to the north. There's no one left for me. My children were martyred and my whole life is gone.
As indicated by our reporter Wissam Abu Zaid, going back home is the main objective of the Palestinian people.
In Lebanon now, 15 people were martyred and 83 others injured today after Zionist military forces opened fire on civilians trying to return to their village in the south. This attack followed the expiration of a 62-day deadline for Zionist troops to leave the area as per the ceasefire agreement between Lebanon and the Zionist entity. Despite this, Zionist forces remained in some southern border areas, violating the terms of the deal. UNIFIL, on the other hand, has expressed serious concern over reports of Zionist gunfire against civilians in the region. In Morocco, another militant for human rights was arrested by the Mahsen regime. This time it was Jawad al-Hamidi, who was sentenced to 2.5 years in a prison and a fine of 2,000 dirhams after denouncing the repression policy adopted by the regime and the ongoing violation of fundamental rights of the Moroccan people. And not so shocking news, as the Mahsen has a long history of silencing and suppressing any voice that goes against it. That was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.